It is the final week of August and the temperatures are making it feel a bit more like fall outside. So we figured it is the perfect time to talk about apple picking. And it turns out the weather in the spring and summer have made for a great apple season. The Michigan Apple Committee is estimating about 30 million bushels of apples this year. That's about the same as last year. 30 million bushels equals 1.2 billion pounds. So that is a whole lot of apples. There are nearly 18 million apple trees in commercial production statewide, covering about 38,000 acres on 850 family-run farms. So to talk more about apple picking and cider mill season, we want to bring in Gretchen Mensing from the Michigan Apple Committee. Hey, Gretchen.
Hi, Priya. How are you this morning?
I am well. You know, I love apples. I love me some apple pie. This is good news.
This is great news, and the apple growers here in Michigan are so ready to get these apples harvested and out to consumers.
So, you know, what kind of got us to this point? I mean, just great conditions to grow apples?
Absolutely. The climate in Michigan is just ideal for growing apples. So the trees go dormant in the winter, and then we had a nice gradual spring warm up, which is perfect for the trees and for the fruit. Then we had a great blossom period with lots of warm weather because the bees like to pollinate in warm weather. So they got those trees pollinated, and we're just looking at a really healthy crop this year.
And what does that mean for our farmers? I also like that so many of these farms are family owned. I mean, the amount of apples we're producing directly translates to food on the table.
Absolutely, and our growers are so proud to be able to provide such a healthy food for consumers. And this is actually the fourth year that we've had about a 30 million bushel crop.
Wow.
And so it really that has to do with the science of growing apples. We are so fortunate to have Michigan State University right here in our state. We have researchers that help us come up with innovative ways to grow apples. So right now the growers have something called high density planting. That means that there's about 2,000 trees per acre. So the trees are closer together. And that means that the same amount of space can grow more apples.
That is so fascinating, especially when, you know, we hear stories about, you know, with concerns about the climate changing, what that will mean for farmers and crops, especially in different parts of the country. Sounds like here in Michigan, we're kind of reaping some of the benefits right now.
Yeah, I think with something like that, you know, again, like I say, the researchers at Michigan State have really been helpful in, you know, addressing those types of issues for
Right.
growers so that they know how to deal with them.
And so you said this has been a couple of years now. Do you expect this trend to continue? What's your kind of long-term forecast?
Absolutely. I think that 30 million bushels is probably going to be the average for us going forward for the next 5 to 6 years. You know, depending on what happens with apple growing and the science of it and what happens with climate going forward, you know, we could see even more.
And what kind of apples are we talking about?
Well, Michigan grows a lot of apples,
Yeah.
but there are about 16 varieties that are really commercially available. This is our chart that we have that kind of has predicted dates when apples will be harvested. So you can see actually today is the day for gala apples on that list,
You
and
know,
those are
they used
hugely
to be my
popular.
favorite, and I feel like I've
Nice and sweet. Yeah, so that means that, you know, you'll see fresh 2025 crop gala apples in your store, in your local farm market, at your local orchard here in the next few days. It only takes a little while for apples to get picked,
Wait, I'm not seeing
packaged, and
Cosmic
in the truck.
Crisp.
Cosmic Crisp is only a Washington variety, so we don't grow
Oh.
those here.
Uh-oh. Well, I think I got to switch apples then and support my Michigan
I would
farmers.
recommend,
What's
if you
closest to
like a
that?
sweet apple, Gala Honeycrisp, you can try an Evercrisp later in the season. Those are all great choices. Ambrosia as well. Those are all kind of up and coming varieties.
Do you have a favorite for apple pie? I was just reading the list there. Do you have a favorite when it comes to pie?
I typically buy Macintosh apples for apple pie. I like a tartar
Oh,
apple with my
yes.
pie, but you know, a lot of people also swear by Honeycrisp. But I tell you, if I have a Honeycrisp in my hand, I'm just going to eat it as
Right.
is.
It's not going to make it into the pie. You know, and when it
Nope.
comes to representing Michigan, you know, when we have these apples going out across the country, you know, what does that mean for us as a brand, you know, as a state?
There is a lot of pride around the apple industry in Michigan, and it's really interesting how it's such an intrinsic part of our culture here. When you think about fall, as you said, the weather starts to cool down.
Yeah.
People start to think about going to the orchards, getting some cider, picking some apples, and that sort of thing. That's not something that happens in every state in our country. So we're really fortunate that this is
Yeah, you're
just
right.
such an iconic part of our culture here in Michigan.
Yeah, we might poo-poo four seasons, but come on, we got apples, we've got a great fall season here, the cider mills are opening up. Gretchen, thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to dig into some delicious apples. And what was the one you thought was the closest one to Cosmic Crisp? Maybe Honey Crisp?
Anything sweet, but Honeycrisp,
Honeycrisp, okay.
Gala, yeah.
No, I did too much Gala. I feel like I did years of Gala, but Honey Crisp,
Oh,
that's the
you'll
next
love
one.
Honeycrisp.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Enjoy.
And if you are planning out your apple picking and cider mill plans, this list could help. It's what Local 4 viewers voted best cider mill in Metro Detroit in our annual vote for the best. Of course, Blake's Orchard and Cider Mill in Armada came in first, followed by Yates in Rochester Hills, Franklin Cider Mill, Parmenter's Northville Cider Mill, and Three Cedars Farm over in Northville. You can read all about it right now on clickondetroit.com.